You're looking for a used Silverado and found that dream deal. Low price, beautiful photos, super friendly seller on the phone. Congratulations, you're probably about to fall for the most expensive scam of your life. Look, I've been working with pickup truck buying and selling for over 15 years. I've seen people lose their homes because of a perfect Silverado that turned into a $30,000 nightmare. And the worst part? The same scams repeat every single day and people keep falling for them. Today, I'm going to show you the 5 most common used Silverado scams. These are schemes that cost thousands of dollars that you can avoid with just a few minutes of attention. And if you don't want to be the next victim, go ahead and subscribe to the channel because here we tell the truth nobody wants to hear. Scam number 1, the Zero Problems Silverado with blown AFM, the $15,000 scam. This one's the king of scams. The guy advertises a 2007 to 2014 Silverado with a 5.3L engine for an unbeatable price. In the ad, perfect engine, never had problems, saves fuel. First red flag, a Silverado from that era that's economical? Blatant lie. What the seller doesn't tell you is that the AFM, active fuel management, is already toast. This system deactivates half the cylinders to save fuel, but in practice, it's a ticking time bomb. When it fails, it takes pistons, cylinders, and your bank account with it. How do they hide it? Simple. They turn off the AFM on the scanner, clear the error codes, and the truck runs perfectly for a few weeks. Just enough time for you to sign the papers and them to disappear into thin air. True story. My buddy bought a 2009 Silverado all serviced up for $18,000. Third week, strange noise in the engine. Diagnosis: AFM destroyed 4 cylinders. Rebuild quote, $15,000. The truck was worth $12,000 running. How to detect: if it's a 2007 to 2014 Silverado with 5.3L and the guy swears it never had problems run. Ask specifically about the AFM. If the seller looks clueless or changes the subject, buy and goodbye. And never ever buy without doing a complete diagnosis with a professional scanner. Costs $150 and can save you $15,000 in headaches. Scam number 2, the lightly used Fleet Silverado HD, the lying odometer scam. This one's subtle and that's why it catches a lot of good people. The seller offers a Silverado 2500 HD or 3500 HD from an executive, low mileage, fair price. Sounds like a dream, right? It's a nightmare. The reality? That truck worked day and night at construction sites, farms, or towing companies. But since many companies don't care about the odometer, the thing ran 300,000 miles in 3 years, but the counter shows only 89,000. How do they do this? Digital odometer is easy to alter. $200 at a specialized shop and boom, 400k mile truck becomes an 80k mile like new. But odometers lie, chassis don't. An HD that worked hard has unmistakable signs: worn tow hitch, sagging rear suspension, warped brakes, and the main one, Allison transmission with harsh shifts. I knew a guy who bought an executive 2015 with only 60k miles for $35,000. Seemed like a steal. 2 weeks later, the transmission gave up. At the shop, they discovered, from the fluid analysis, that Allison had at least 250,000 miles of heavy-duty work. How to detect: truly low mileage HD is rare. If the price is too good, be suspicious. Look at the rear tires. If they're bald, but the odometer shows low mileage, you're being played. Examine the hitch, the bed, the sides. Hard work leaves marks. And always, always ask for the complete Carfax history, not that free summary version. The complete one shows if it was a commercial vehicle, how many owners it had, if it went through auction. Scam number 3, the Z71 Silverado built for off-road, the destructive modification scam. This scam exploits the American dream, the weekend-ready pickup. The seller shows a beautiful Z71, lifted suspension, huge tires, powerful sound system. Invested over $20,000 in modifications, he says, and charges for it. Problem? 90% of the modifications destroyed the truck. Poorly done suspension? Wrong geometry, tires wearing unevenly, dangerous steering at highway speeds. Built engine? usually means junk chip that fried the ECU and forced internals beyond their limit. Powerful sound? Hack wiring that causes random electrical problems. Worse, insurance won't cover modified vehicle without certification. Financing becomes a nightmare, and resale is impossible because the next buyer will also be suspicious. Classic example, 2016 Z71 Silverado built for $45,000. At the dealership, it would cost $38,000 stock. The guy bought it thinking he was getting a deal. Result, misaligned suspension ate 4 tires in 6 months, $800. Junk chip caused injection problems, $2,500 repair, and sound system wiring shorted out and fried 2 modules, $1,800. Total loss in 1 year, $5,100. More expensive than buying the stock one. How to detect? Well-done modification costs a lot and has documentation. If the guy doesn't have receipts for equipment, installation certification, and modification paperwork, run. Ask to see where it was done. Look up references for the shop. And remember, truck modified for off-road was abused. Always. Nobody lifts suspension just to drive on pavement. Scam number 4. The Silverado imported from another state. The dirty title scam. This scam uses greed against you. The seller offers a Silverado from out of state for a price well below market. It's cheaper there, he explains. Brought it here to sell quick. Lie. That truck has documentation problems that make it unsellable in its home state. Could be poorly resolved salvage title, open liens, unpaid tickets, or worse, poorly hidden theft with cloned documents. The guy sells cheap because he knows in 6 months you'll discover you can't transfer it, finance it, or even legally drive it. Story I was told. Guy bought a Silverado from Texas in Nevada for $15,000 below market. Super convincing seller, documents looked correct. 3 months later, trying to register at the local DMV, he discovered the VIN didn't match the title. Truck was a stolen recovery poorly documented. Lost everything, truck and money. How to detect? Always check the physical VIN against the title on the spot. Use the DMV app to verify there are no restrictions. If the seller is in a hurry to close the deal, wants cash only, or won't meet at a busy public location, buy. And never, under any circumstances, pay before confirming the transfer at the notary or DMV, no matter how nice the seller seems. Scam number 5. The elderly single owner Silverado, the little old lady scam. This is the most cynical of all. The ad says, Grandma's Silverado, single owner, always garaged, only used on Sundays. Photo shows sweet old lady next to the truck. Fair price, impeccable, history. Total fake. Either the little old lady never existed, or that truck was used much more than they're telling. In reality, it could be a disguised fleet vehicle, unlicensed taxi, or a truck that passed through several hands, but the sellers forged a nice story. I've even seen them fake photos with elderly people to give credibility to the ad. The problem isn't lying about the owner. It's lying about how the truck was used. If it ran as Uber, delivery, or commercial work, the wear is completely different from family use. Engine, transmission, brakes, everything ages differently. Real case. I knew a guy who bought a Grandma's Silverado 2012 with only light urban use. History showed single owner since new. Fair price, clean truck. 6 months later, at the first serious service, mechanic discovered the transmission had signs of intensive commercial use, probably delivery or similar. Had to replace it for $4,500. How to detect? Real elderly person has organized maintenance receipts, knows the truck's history, and isn't in a hurry to sell. If the grandson is selling for grandma who doesn't drive anymore, but can't answer basic maintenance questions, be suspicious. Also look at interior wear. Driver's seat very worn, smooth steering wheel, bald pedals on a little old lady's truck doesn't add up. Want to know the secret to never falling for used Silverado scams? 2 words, professional inspection. No matter how convincing the seller is, how beautiful the truck looks, or how tempting the price is. Always hire an independent mechanic to do a complete inspection before buying. Costs between $300 and $500 depending on the area. Might seem like a lot, but it's the best investment you make. This guy will find problems your eyes don't see and your ears don't hear. And remember, if the seller won't allow inspection, they don't want problems. Honest person with honest vehicle has nothing to hide. Lastly, trust your instincts. If something doesn't smell right, if the seller is too anxious, if the story doesn't add up, listen to that internal alarm. It's better to miss an opportunity than gain a $20,000 headache. So, have you fallen for any of these scams or know someone who has? Tell us in the comments. Let's help other people not go through the same trouble. And if this video can save money for someone you know, share it with that person. Next week, I'm going to show you how to do a basic visual inspection on a used Silverado. The 10 points you can check yourself before even calling a mechanic. Until then, watch out for those bargains.